All right, Cenk Uygur is the biggest idiot I've ever seen. Okay, you know, madness, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Justice Democrats. All right, somewhere out there, hold on. I'm hearing Jimmy Dore laugh. Somewhere out there, I'm hearing a lot of people laugh. Hold on, man, I'm hearing a lot of people laugh because now Cenk Uygur has a big plan. A rebellion inside the Democrat Party. You tried this before, you moron. I mean, you can't be this stupid. You can't be this dumb. All right? Like, really? Are you this mentally challenged? I refuse to believe. I refuse to believe that you're this moronic, okay? I refuse to believe it. But then again, you know what? Hey, I used to be a fan of TYT. So there's an L I have to carry. All right. Huge announcement on tonight's Young Turks on YouTube at 7 p.m. We're unveiling a plan for a populist takeover of the Democrat Party. You tried that before. Several candidates are already on board. And watch them give you the cold shoulder as soon as they win because you were dumb enough not to have a contract with any of them, dumb enough not to set up an infrastructure. And didn't you and Kyle get kicked out? Didn't you and Kyle get kicked out of Justice Democrats? I mean, this is stupid. You don't have the same power that you had in 2016, Janky. Come find out how we can turn the Democratic Party back to what it used to do. Serve the average American. Jesus Christ, this is a moron. You are really stupid. You know, it's like that scene from The Simpsons when Homer Simpson joined the Stonecutters and he's destroying their parchment. And Carl says, "You really are stupid, aren't you?" That's what he said. Cenk, you really are that stupid. You know, Cenk, check out more about Rebellion PAC and the populist takeover of the Democrat Party on News Nation. What is your plan for defeating AIPAC? Or do you just plan on wasting more working class money? That's from Nick from RBN. Here, Blakely. Rebellion PAC is run by a genocidal racist Zionist bigot named Brianna Woo, who regularly says dehumanizing shite about the Palestinians and spent the last year doing propaganda for the Israeli regime. No thanks. I'm going to like these two. All right, there you go. Go ahead and retweet these two out. There you go. Boom, boom, retweeting out. James Lee says, I think it's time to give up on the Democrat Party. Republicanist says, here comes the grift. Here comes the grift. I'm sure it involves money, says Tim MCD. And whoa, check this out. Check this out. Jackie Jacks, much love. Much love. Hope you're doing well. Says this. LOL, you circled all the way back to, we're going to change the party from within. Are you calling it Justice Democrats 2.0? The F out of here with this. You need a better grift. Okay? I mean, this is what he's doing. This is what he's doing. And I also want to give a shout out to another person again, because Cenk is talking about at Rebellion PAC, we're going to offer something that's missing from American politics, actually caring about the average person. We represent the voters, not the donors. We have to bring the Democratic Party back to its roots. Economic populism. This is the path back to victory. Now, wait a minute. Stop everything. Stop. No bueno. Here's the executive director of Rebellion PAC, Brianna Woo, smearing pro-Palestinian protesters as anti-Semitic in her latest propaganda trip to the Israeli regime as they genocide Palestinians. Are you sure you want to donate to this? Here.
Absolutely bizarre to me because, when Black Lives Matter came to the United States, I did a lot of media promoting that. Women's rights, I've done every single media in the entire world talking about that. Somehow, when it comes to Jews, when I'm outspoken about Jews and anti-Semitism in my country, if it involves the left specifically, it hurts your career to talk about. I've been blacklisted from multiple media sites. And, I'm not saying anything crazy. I'm saying our Jewish friends and neighbors are in pain and we need to support them. And Israel has a right to defend itself from these terrorists. Even just
Cenk, please keep falling downstairs, okay? At least when Peter Griffin does it, it's funny. When Homer Simpson fails at a project, at least it's funny. You are quote unquote a public figure and a media personality. This is embarrassing, okay? You cannot reform the Democrat Party. All right? Anyone that you promote with Justice Democrats doesn't even show up on your show anymore. Number one. Number two, you and Kyle got kicked out of the Justice Democrats. And to be fair here, I thought that was BS reasons why they did it. Number three, you ran not once but twice for Congress and the Democrats smeared you. Then you had this big brain idea, and I don't know what you were smoking. I think it should be illegal, whatever it was. You decided to run for president of the United States in the Democratic primary. which is very stupid. And somehow now you want to reform the Democrats. I mean, my God. I mean, I almost want to text everyone that you might have worked with and say, hey, is Cenk okay? Is he having a meltdown? Because this is beyond madness. Shout out to Case Study QB.
I would argue that President Trump is making it easy for the Democrats to show that they have better ideas, but that party seems determined to get it wrong. They got Bernie and AOC running around the country, selling that government is the solution to everything, socialistic ideas. They have their lawmakers running to El Salvador when they didn't go to East Palestine. I mean, WTF. The California governor, Gavin Newsom, he said, and I'm sure he thinks that this is a campaign of candor for him. I don't know what the Democratic Party is. Here's what he's getting wrong. You're supposed to know, my brother. You're supposed to know. If you want to be a leader, you can't just go on some listening tour. Leaders lead. They have a vision. They do know. So I guess he's saying he's out. So then who's in? I'll tell you who wants to be in. Co-founder of the Young Turks, Cenk Uygur. Just an hour ago, he launched what he's calling a rebellion movement. I'd say that's redundant. I think he just needs rebellion. He is certain that he knows how to put Democrats back on the path to victory. He is here by the ever reasonable, always optimistic, Geraldo Rivera.
Oh, God, Geraldo. Remember when you found Alphonse Capone's secret lair? That's not what you're going to do, okay? Or wait, it wasn't Al Capone. It was somebody else. You were... Oh, great. He was looking for somebody. He was looking for somebody's secret tomb or secret burial ground or something. I got to find it. I'll let these idiots talk.
It is good to have you both. Geraldo, you listen to Cenk's pitch, and then we'll pick at him about it. Cenk, first of all, thank you for doing something. So what's the rebellion? Why do you think you can take over the party?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. So we need a rebellion because obviously this Democratic Party isn't working. It's at 26%. They lost to Donald Trump. They lost the popular vote, all 7 swing states. So what do they need? I believe that they need economic populism. Donald Trump pretended to be a populist, but as you see now, he isn't. He's passing $5.5 trillion in tax cuts. Today he said, oh, no, of course we're not going to raise taxes on the rich. So it's the same old Republican Party giving away trillions of dollars to the rich and to corporations. But this country wants populism. And the correct answer, in my opinion, is left-wing populism. So what does that mean? It just means bring the Democratic Party back to its roots. What we're going with on rebellionpact.com is the 6 most popular proposals Democrats have, which, by the way, a lot of independents agree with, a lot of even Republicans agree with. So we're not just planning to run in blue districts as we did when I started Just Democrats. We're planning to run in purple districts and red districts. So higher wages, paid family leave, make sure that we got lower drug prices by negotiating at Medicare, lower housing prices, money out of politics, anti-war. This is a super popular plank. And now we're joined by Rocon, who has joined the rebellion. And he's the first sitting congressman to do that. And on top of that, we've got Richard Ojeda running in North Carolina 9th district. That's an R+10, but we're going to win that district. We're being very bold here. And when we win those purple and red districts, we're going to make a case to the American people. We're leading. We have a plan. We already displaced Trump.
I just want to make a quick correction here. The mystery of Al Capone's vault. Yes, that's what he was looking. Listen. Only one person knows the secret of Alphonse Capone's mystery vault, and you'll never find him, okay? And apparently Geraldo Rivera did that, and you know what? It was an absolute joke, okay? And in 2023, the Rolling Stone listed the special as one of the worst decisions in television history. No, incorrect. What it showed was just how dumb people are, okay? Geraldo, listen. You do not deserve the privilege of looking for Alphonse Capone's vaults, okay? He's a saint in this house.
Power in Congress in 2026. Now trust us to run the party in 2028, and we'll bring it back to what it used to be, representing the average man.
So my question for him, Geraldo, is he needs a top dog. I'm wondering if he says it's him or has he got somebody else in mind. But what do you think, Geraldo?
Well, I think Rocon, if indeed the congressman from Silicon Valley has joined this rebellion, I think that is a very impressive gesture. He's my favorite lawman. I believe that he has a tremendous future, and he seems like a pragmatic progressive, not a crazy person. I also think that you gave maybe short shrift to the establishment Democrats. I think either Gavin Newsom or Josh Shapiro could beat Trump if the election were held right now. I think that Trump's definitely tanked a lot of his support, along with the stock market. And the one thing you can't mess with is people's financial security, particularly because so many of the activists or most reliable voters are older folks who are counting on a 401k or IRA or whatever it is to see them through. So I don't think, and I also think that the rebellion space is kind of taken up now by Bernie Sanders and AOC, getting energized crowds in the tens of thousands. All due respect, Jake, I'm a fan of yours. I don't expect that you'd be getting much more than in the hundreds, maybe the low thousands. I don't see you steaming them up. Maybe.
Hey, man, that deserves an oof right there. An oof.
Oof. Oof. Oof. Oof. Oof. Oof. Oof. Oof. Oof. Oof.
You know what's funny is that Bernie and AOC haven't been on Cenk's show in so long. I mean, he can't even pull in those crowds anymore. It's not 2016 anymore, man. Those past 8 years of a bygone era, man. So I would say Geraldo's correct on this point. He is absolutely factual. Jake, you're not going to be pulling in those crowds. And just remember, TYT capitalized on the Bernie Sanders movement. And they thought they had it. They thought the good times would keep on rolling forever.
A lot's changed since I've heard you speak to crowds, but it just I don't know. I think Trump is beatable. He's beatable on brass tacks.
He's
issues.
beatable.
He screwed
beatable,
up this
Geraldo.
tariff thing terribly.
He's screwing it up. We'll see what he does. He's beatable because he can't run. So, Cenk, the central theory, though, is how do you displace AOC and Bernie?
So there's no need to displace AOC and Bernie. I don't have any problem with what they're doing. I think they're doing a great job with the rallies. You guys and I might disagree on some of that, but this has absolutely nothing to do with me. I'm part of the people who founded this organization, and I'm on the board of it. Cara Eastman, another great progressive Democrat, is the executive director right now. Brianna Woo's on the board with me. So this
Brianna Woo, who I played earlier, okay, who's also been called out for saying very, 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 very cringe stuff. Okay, Brianna Woo. Okay. That's who he has on the board. Jank. At least with Justice Democrats, there was an attempt. This thing was Rebellion PAC. A snowflake has a better chance in Vulcan's Forge of making it out alive than this Rebellion PAC of actually making any kind of real effective change. Look at what happened to the last people who TYT promoted. Let's say if you get 4 people to win, okay? Will they come back onto your show? Will the Democrat Party, knock on their door, say, listen up and follow orders? Hell, AOC might knock on the door, give them a hug and be like, hey, listen up, you little shits. It's my way or the highway because Nancy's going to be out and I'm now the new Nancy, okay? Because that's what's probably will happen. And that'll be the last time any of those people that Rebellion PAC puts in comes on your show, or even talks to you, or picks up the phone, or answers a text message. You're going to be left high and dry. Everybody's laughing at you. This is madness.
This is a giant organization, and we've got one other candidate coming out on May Day. He's another excellent populist. So this is not vis-a-vis Bernie or AOC at all. But it's also not guys, we're going for economic populism. So I'm planting our flag here, and I'm saying if you believe we should go with our most popular policies, and you believe we should go with economic populism, and you think that should be our focus, then come to rebellionpac.com. We're accepting candidates, we're accepting volunteers, and obviously we'll take donations as well. But Rocon is a super strong voice, and I love what Geraldo said about him. And he's so reasonable, he's so pragmatic, and he put
same Rocon who's on the unusual whales chart of doing very well with stock options and trading. Same Rocon that's been slapped around by Savvy Sabs and Nick from RBN. Same Rocon. Again, go to Unusual Whales. Go to Unusual Whales on X, and you'll find row your boat Rocon. But I guess he is pragmatic. Hey, folks, is Rocon your version of a populist that you'll follow? Type 1 for yes, kid. Type 2, no, kid. Don't ever humor that idea again. I wonder how many 2s will show up in the chat. I wonder, do you ever wonder?
Puts a great face to progressivism and shows people, hey, look, he calls it economic patriotism. So I think he's one of the really bright lights in our party, and I'm thrilled that he's with us.
God.
One of the other things we're going to do, guys, is unlike the establishment Democrats, we're going to be all over media. We're not shy about media. I'm not. No, the other co-founders are. Certainly Rocon, Richard Ochetta, all these guys.
You're talking mechanics where you don't yet have a philosophy. It seems to me you put
We do have a philosophy.
Ahead of the horse here. Well, I heard you, but you sounded an awful lot like a lot of Democrats I've heard over the years. With all due respect, a lot of liberal Democrats. You want to feed the hungry. You want a minimum wage and etc. What about DEI? What about the fact that race plays such a noxious role? What about the fact that this is really a country divided, not so much class. I know we like to make it, as colorblind as possible, but there's race is the core of a lot of the distrust between groups. I think that what you need is someone popular as well as populist. You need someone with magnetism, with the charisma, who can compete against probably J.D. Vance, I would expect, or Don Jr. maybe. I think that the Republicans are square. Trump is one in a trillion. He's the only movie star they've had since Ronald Reagan, the only one they're likely to have going forward. But I don't see where you squeeze in. I think when you're getting a new product in a market, you go to the store, you go to the Target, wherever it is. Where's my space in the shelf? I'm not sure where the rebellious
what kind of ketchup
Democrat space in the
What kind
shelf.
of ketchup are you, Cenk?
Yeah. So
Oh, ketchup? Oh, that's an insult to ketchup. Okay, he's like tomato paste. Okay, I made a funny joke. That was pretty funny.
some of those are good questions, Geraldo. So first of all, on culture wars, this group isn't doing culture wars. We're focusing on economic issues. So we're not interested in having those debates that are wedge issues that drive us apart. And we talk to the other side. We're willing to talk to everybody. I took a lot of heat for going on right-wing podcasts, independent podcasts, and I'm totally in favor of that. We lost the popular vote. We need to regain the popular vote. And you do that by reaching out to independents. At this point, Donald Trump is intensely unpopular. Last poll that came out is he's at 40% approval, 59% disapproval. You know why? Because a lot of independents voted for him and they got screwed. And we're giving a real option here now. You come, well, this is not the same old Democratic Party. We're not doing culture wars. We're not doing the establishment nonsense where they never actually pass the bills. Hold us accountable. We are going to pass these bills that America loves.
You know, I've heard somebody else talk like this. First of all, Cenk, I'm going to save you for last because right off the bat, we all know they talked this big game with Justice Democrats many moons ago. But I've heard people like Andrew Yang talk about like it was the Forward Party. I've heard this from, you know, People's Party. I've heard all of this stuff before. Oh, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do this, do that. All this jazz. Hell, I've heard AOC speak a big game and Bernie Sanders speak a big game. And you know what? Look, controversial statement here, but Harald was kind of correct here in calling out Cenk's BS because you don't have the big crowds and the legions like you used to have. Because what's stopping Rebellion PAC from detaching itself from TYT and removing you off the board? I mean, maybe you might have learned your lessons from Justice Democrats, maybe. But something tells me that you haven't. Something tells me that this is all a big game to try and reform a party that has already admitted to everyone that they are a private institution. Nico House, Craig Jardula-Pasa, and Fiorella Isabel in 2016, 2017 showed firsthand, as well as a few other independent reporters have shown firsthand that the Democrats have already admitted that they are a private institution, that their primaries are already pre-selected. Bernie Sanders never stood a chance in 2016 and 2020, that they make the decisions behind closed doors. And just like we saw play out in 2024, Biden's the nominee. The primary is already done. There's no need to have a primary. So anybody else that was running in the Democratic primary, like RFK Jr., Marianne Williamson, Dean Phillips, and even you, Janky, you never had a chance. Democrats made so many changes to their rule book to help Biden. And as soon as Biden crapped his pants with the debate with Trump, they put in Kamala. They appointed Kamala. And now you want to fix this party? You should be on board for destroying it unless you're trying to reach out to some Democrat donors, maybe get some Katzenberg cash and try and be friendly. Read the room. Read the room. This looks like a complete... Well, I want to be careful with my words here. Just a little bit. But this feels like a grift. It smells like a grift. It looks like a grift. It's walking like a grift. So I'm going to rewind this a little bit.
Between groups. I think that what you need is someone popular as well as populist. You need someone with magnetism, with the charisma, who can compete against probably J.D. Vance, I would expect, or Don Jr. maybe. I think that the Republicans are square. Trump is one in a trillion. He's the only movie star they've had since Ronald Reagan, the only one they're likely to have going forward. But I don't see where you squeeze in. I think when you're getting a new product in a market, you go to the store, you go to the Target, wherever it is. Where's my space in the shelf? I'm not sure where the rebellious Democrat space in the shelf.
What kind of ketchup are you, Cenk?
Yeah, so some of those are good questions, Geraldo. So first of all, on culture wars, this group isn't doing culture wars. We're focusing on economic issues. So we're not interested in having those debates that are wedge issues that drive us apart. And we talk to the other side. We're willing to talk to everybody. I took a lot of heat for going on right-wing podcasts, independent podcasts, and I'm totally in favor of that. We lost the popular vote.
Good.
We need to regain the popular vote. And you do that by reaching out to independents. At this point, Donald Trump is intensely unpopular. Last poll that came out is he's at 40% approval, 59% disapproval. You know why? Because a lot of independents voted for him and they got screwed. And we're giving a real option here now. You come, well, this is not the same old Democratic Party. We're not doing culture wars. We're not doing the establishment nonsense where they never actually pass the bills. Hold us accountable. We are going to pass these bills that America loves.
You can have this line. Less about woke, more about who's broke. Cenk Uygur will be watching. Good luck with it. And Geraldo, always a pleasure.
God, that was so cringe. Oh, I'm sorry I had to expose all of that. More or less about woke and who's broke. Oh, God, hold on one more time. Say that again. Say it again, Fredo.
Loves.
You can have this line. Less about woke, more about who's broke. Cenk Uygur.
When I do this show, I try and keep myself composed, but that was okay. Well, that's going to be in the news. There's going to be a 2026 midterm election cycle, so we got some time. But you know what's going to happen now? I think I see my worst case scenario playing out. I'm 50-50 on it, though. Okay, I'm 50-50 on it because I see the road being paved. Okay, unless something happens. But you know what? I see this rebellion pack, Justice Democrats 2.0. Everyone's going to be they're going to be talking about populist issues, but don't worry, the Democrats are going to find a way to hijack it. Okay, this looks like a signal from TYT, like, hey, Katzenberg or somebody, Katzenberg adjacent, give us some money. Money, please. Give us money. We want some money. To our donors. Hey, to our supporters, give us, remember, Jesse, this time we're going to get it right. This time you're going to get it right, Cenk? How are you going to get it right? Democrats are a dying brand. Who's their leader? Right now, as it looks like, the only two people who are actually bringing in people or energizing the Democrat base is AOC and Bernie Sanders with their Fight the Oligarchy tour. How ironic that they're taking private little jets to go to point A to point B. But those are the only two that actually have anything of value. But all it is a hopium copium circle jerk fest for everyone to get like a therapeutic session. That's what the Fight the Oligarchy tour is. It's a big mass group therapy where everyone sits down, talks about how Trump triggers them, how they're going to fight back, and Bernie Sanders and AOC fart their way on their private jet to go from another place to another place, do that hopium copium circle jerk group therapy session, okay? Then you have the Justice Democrats, or either that the failure of it, and that's how we got AOC and all these other fantastic morons. And when we asked them to fight for us for force to vote, March for Medicare for All, or a 3-day General Strike Summit meeting, or fight for a minimum wage, all taking place in 2021, we got the big FU. That's what we got. And so now you want to try it again. Reforming something that doesn't want to be reformed. I mean, unless you like being publicly humiliated, why would you invest into this? You ran twice for Congress. You failed. You ran for president in the Democratic primary. That was an embarrassment. Justice Democrats was a failure. How's that wolf pack going along? Oh, yeah, nothing much from that either. Hey, Cenk, would any of your candidates want to show up on, like, maybe, I don't know, Jimmy Dore show, Joe Rogan show, Due Distance, Hardlands Media, INN, RBN? Would anybody? No, probably not. Probably not, but okay. This is your plan. TYT. All right, great. It's a sinking ship. I will grab the popcorn and watch a failure. It'll be content gold for me on what not to do. You want to know what I'm going to tell my audience to do for the midterm election cycle? Support citizen ballot initiatives. Build movements and organizations not connected to Washington, D.C. Support third parties and independents. But if you want to support or try and rebuild the Democratic Party, here, I got a couple of things. First of all, when I hear Cenk talking about, trying to reform the Democrats, I'm going to let Van Jones speak for you.
I don't know anything about politics. I don't know anything about politics. I don't know anything about politics.
And on top of that, too, getting excited about the Democrats, here's what I think about it.
And here's what I think about it.
That's it.